Okay, Lama. So let's start our nighttime seminar, molecular biology part, right? So, right. Okay, Lama. තව ඉතින් ළමයි exam එකට මාසයක් වගේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. So I thought of covering molecular biology part in this class, right? So there will be 3 seminars. I will try to cover all the parts in 3 seminars in each Friday, each Saturday, 8 to 11, right? So wait, right. Okay. So let's start our class, right? This is unit 7, Lama. Unit 7, molecular biology, right? So here, today we are going to discuss about the basic structure of DNA molecule and the organization of chromosomes. Then we are going to discuss about the DNA replication, right? So those are the topics which we are planning to do today, right? So first, we have to know about the genetic material, right? So what is the genetic material in human or invertebrates or animals? Most of the time, most of the organisms, the genetic material is DNA. So DNA is a nucleic acid. So you have to know that DNA is a nucleic acid, right? So nucleic acid have the capability of, right? So nucleic acid are they have few capabilities. They can direct their own replication from monomers, right? So that's the main reason which help this nucleic acid to become a genetic material, right? It can replicate by its own. එයාම replicate කරගන්න පුළුවන්. monomers පාවිච්චි කරලා. එතකොට මොනම එක වෙන්නේ මොනවද nucleic acid වල? The monomer of nucleic acid is nucleotides, right? So we'll discuss about nucleic acid from the beginning ළමයි. මම මෙතන පොඩ්ඩිම දේ ඉඳන් කියලා දීගෙන යනවා. මෙතනින් අල්ලගන්න ළමයි ආයි පාඩම් කරන්න වෙලාවක් නැහැ මේවා. මේ ටික මේ විදිහට මතක තියාගන්න. I'll provide you the note. Okay. මේ note එකේ ඕනේ ළමයි මට message එකක් දාන්න. මම ඒතකොට note එකත් එවන්නම්. දැන්ටම ඕගොල්ලෝ හදපු note තියෙනවා නම් දැන් අලුතින් note එකක් බලන්න. අමාරුයි වගේ නම් note එක බලන්න යන්න එපා ළමයි. ඕගොල්ලෝගේම note එක බලන්න. It's okay. Anyway, I'll show you the note, my note. If it is good for you, if it is valuable for you, please send a message. I'll send you the note, right? It's a handwritten note, right? So, nucleic acid. So, there are 2 main types of nucleic acid, DNA and RNA. Among them, most of the organisms use DNA as the genetic material. But there are few organisms which use RNA as the genetic material. Most of the time, they use DNA as the genetic material, but some use RNA. So you have to know who use RNA as genetic material, right? RNA is used in some viruses, only in some viruses. So most of the time DNA is the one which is used as genetic material, right? Some viruses like influenza. So influenza is a RNA virus. So you have to understand this ළමයි. දැන් මෙතන කියන්නේ most of the times organisms use DNA as the genetic material. But all the organisms have RNA, but they don't use RNA as genetic material, right? So here this virus, influenza virus, use RNA as the genetic material, right? තේරුණාද ළමයි? දැන් DNA කට්ටිය genetic material එක කියලා use කරනවා කියන්නේ එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ ළඟ RNA නැද්ද? They have RNA, right? But they don't use the RNA as genetic material, right? They don't use RNA as genetic material, right? But this influenza virus use RNA as genetic material, right? So then you have to know the action of DNA as a vital genetic material in organisms, right? Why it is act as a genetic material, right? So what are the how it act as a genetic material? So why DNA is used as genetic material other than any other molecule, right? So one reason is DNA can replicate, right? It can replicate. Not only replicate, lamai, it can replicate accurately, right? So it has the capability of accurate replication. As I told you, right? So in my videos I have told you that we have to replicate DNA very accurately, right? We have to replicate DNA very accurately. Why? From zygote to, right, we from sperm and egg, after the sperm and egg fertilized, a sperm is egg is fertilized by a sperm, it forms a zygote, right? After, from that zygote, after the cell division, multiple cells are formed, right? So our body is formed by multiple cells, right? Billions of cells. So all the cells have the same genetic material which was present in the zygote, right? All the somatic cells have the same genetic material as zygote, right? So it should be, the genetic material should be replicated. So same genetic material should be in every cell. So it should be replicated, and it should be replicated accurately. That accurate replication can be done by these DNAs, right? So they can replicate accurately without errors, right? If there's error, it's a big problem. We'll discuss those things later, Lamai. Those errors even can cause the organisms, can kill the organism even, right? Some errors can cause cancers, right? Some errors can pass into the next offspring and cause problems in those of offsprings also, right? So you have to know that why DNA is acting as a genetic material, because it has the capability of accurate replication. That's one. Then so it has the ability to transmit from one generation to other generation. It can transmit, right, from one generation to other. So it can transmit, it can replicate accurately, it can transmit from generation to generation. So the genetic material will be transmit to the next offspring, right? So then, and the most important thing is it has an ability to store the genetic information and express those genetic information. So it has the ability to store and express those genetic information or hereditary information. Okay, Lama. These are the basic things about genetic DNA, right? So what do you have to know? That nucleic acid have the capability of capability to replicate by its own, right? So most of the time, most of the organisms use DNA and RNA as the genetic material. Among them, DNA is the most common genetic material in most of the organisms. And some organisms, like some viruses, use RNA as the genetic material. Then action of DNA as vital genetic material, they can replicate accurately and they can